Hello, this is Abby.
Dear Abby, this is gonna be a long one.
Oh boy.
Dear Abby, how do you tell the difference between a new exciting crush and a rebound?
Does it matter?
Dear Abby, dear Abby, dear Abby.
Welcome to our little corner of the internet. This is the Dear Abby podcast. I hope you stay and hang out with us. See you in a sec. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Dear Abby. I am your humble host. My name is Abby. Last name, I'm not going to tell you. Doesn't feel important. Welcome back to my podcast. I hope you are having a beautiful, wonderful day, whatever day it is. If you're listening the day that it comes out, or maybe you're very much behind, have a good day. Good day to you. I am excited to record today. I always miss recording when I'm not recording until, like 20 minutes before I'm recording, I'm not excited to record. But then the second I start recording, I feel like excited to record again because I'm locked in and I'm just in this world now. And I just want to say thank you for listening. If you're a new listener, thank you for trying this out. I hope you enjoy this episode. I also have a lot of other episodes. If this one's not hitting, you can go to another one and try that one out. Or if you're a returning listener, thank you for listening. I wonder how long you have been listening for. Today, we are talking about something very specific, and it's something that has been floating around in my brain, something that I have been actively struggling to come to terms with, and also something that I think a lot of us and people who have struggled chronically with a mental illness or with any kind of an illness, whether it's mental or physical, anything that has consumed a lot of your time and energy for a long, long time, and maybe you didn't get help until later in life. So that being said, we're talking about coming to terms with wasted time and energy consumed by, for me, it's been OCD obsessions, like compulsions, ruminations, all that stuff, all that annoying stuff I've been struggling with since I was a little girl, since I can remember. Like my very first memories sometimes are OCD obsession memories, where I specifically remember intrusive thoughts and trying to figure them out in my head or do certain compulsive behaviors like pinch myself and different things ever since I was a little girl. So I have been really thinking about that lately because I've been wanting to to start art school in any capacity, because I think as somebody who wants to self-teach, let me rephrase that. As somebody who is trying to pay for everything and also wants to go to school again, because I finally found what I would really like to do and what I really enjoy doing, it's very frustrating to find that being almost 30 years old, I'm now just learning what I like to do, because a lot of time was spent again on my obsessions and thinking. And at the time of when those obsessions are current, I was thinking this is the most important thing. This is what I want to be thinking about and doing and figuring out and using my time and energy on. It's the most important thing to me at the time. So I thought, because I didn't know what OCD was until the past couple of years. So I spent a lot of time on obsessions versus hobbies, interests, passions, things that just brought me joy, discovering more of myself, taking risks, not being so stuck in my own head to take a new class that I've never taken before or to try something new. Or I used to just give up on stuff really easily. Like if I wasn't immediately good at it, I would just give up. And I don't know if and I don't think that's necessarily related to OCD, but it does relate to, I think, just understanding that some of us can be perfectionists even from a young age, or high achieving, but in a way that it kind of tears us down and makes us quit when we're not immediately ahead or when we're not immediately good at something. But I do actually really believe that the frustration tolerance that you sometimes lack having OCD, especially at the beginning stages or before you do any recovery work, I think for me, I would feel frustrated and I didn't know how to push past it. So I would just give up and just move on to something else. And I do find that there's a similar feeling when it comes to doing OCD recovery work and trying to deal with frustration and not being able to figure something out, or that feeling being unsatisfied in some way, even though that feeling of needing everything to be right or to make sense or for it to click is insatiable. So there's no point in trying to satiate it anyways, but for the longest time, you think it's worth the try. So that was a long explanation, but that's what we're talking about today. And I will get more into it later on. But I first wanted to do some dubs and L's because I had a comment on my YouTube the other day, and I really appreciate this comment. Okay, guys, YouTube comments like warm my soul because I will watch YouTube videos, and YouTube above all else means a lot to me because you just find, I don't know, like-minded people, and it just feels like a quieter space, even though it's still loud, but you have more control over what you watch. Anyways, so have a lot of love for the people whose content I consume. And so when someone comments, like I know that I'm just glad that it means something to people. But I got a comment the other day that said, after I had asked, that said, Dubs and L's is kind of an old-fashioned thing to do, but they like it. So I'm going to keep doing it until I'm told otherwise or until I decide otherwise. My generation is out there, and I feel like that's kind of, I'm actually Gen Z. I am Gen Z. I'm not millennial. I'm Gen Z, and I feel like that's a very Gen Z thing to say. And I like my generation. I'm proud of my generation. A lot of people give us hate, but I like being Gen Z. And we can prove them wrong, everybody. We'll prove them wrong. We grew up with the internet, but we now understand already. But now we know the toxic parts, the good parts, the bad parts, and we're doing something about it. And that's good. So go Gen Z. Do I know any actual statistics on that? No, but I don't care. I don't care about statistics. Well, I do in a lot of aspects, but whatever. Let's start with the L's. My L for this week is I don't think I have prioritized good nutrition. That's not been feeling good. And it's been, I think, almost 2 weeks or 10 days or something since I've gone to the gym to get a good workout. I went this morning, but it was a long time. And sure, does it feel good to like just come straight home instead of having to go to the gym after work? Of course. But then after an hour of laying there, I'm like, I kind of wish that I just went to the gym and then I would have been home and I would have felt better. I mean, life always ebbs and flows. So there's going to be some times where it's not as consistent at something. That's okay. But it is kind of discouraging to go back at the gym. It is kind of discouraging because today when I went back to the gym, I was so close to doing a pull up. And now I feel like I went back like months instead of just like 2 weeks or a couple of days. So that sucks. Onwards and upwards. That was a couple days ago. I'm not focused on the past. I'm going to focus on the future. So there, I process that. I compartmentalize it. I put it away. Goodbye. Or sometimes it doesn't feel good to put it away. Sometimes it just feels good to explode the thought or to just send it out into space and never see it again, or just to watch it disintegrate. So I'm going to let those feelings of being disappointed in myself and stressed and all of that stuff about my health and just send it in a balloon, never to be seen again. Goodbye. And then I'm going to look towards the future. I think the dub for this week is a great one. So the dub for this week is I set up all my Christmas stuff and it looks great. I spent quite a bit of money on Christmas stuff, but it feels really good to just have Christmas decor up, as well as I have found, and I'm embarrassed if anyone of them listens, I don't think they do. None of my friends really listen to my podcast, which I'm kind of like happy about. You would think like, wouldn't you want them to support you? Yeah, but also this feels like a stranger's thing. Like you guys are my friends, but like we don't really know each other on a personal level. So that feels more comforting to me. I mean, I would love to, I'm sure, when we do meet and greet someday in the near future, I'll be positive. But it's kind of the thing where it's comforting to me that nobody knows me I mean, some of my family listens. Some of my siblings listen, but anyways, that being said, I have 3 dubs actually. So the first one was Christmas dub. Second one is I have made more friends recently. And I feel so stupid talking about this, but I have just been more normal in conversation. So good for me. I can hold a conversation. It's also been helpful working in an office for a couple years now because now I'm used to talking to people like adults, like having a normal human conversation, adult to adult. That being said, it's not always perfect, and I sometimes drift off in the middle of a sentence and don't know where I was headed or don't know what I was trying to do with that conversation or with what I was saying. And then I get red in the face and I just never want to see that person again until the next day, and then I'm fine and I get over it. But so that still happens, but I'm more comfortable with the discomfort of it. And I'm more comfortable with being a little bit awkward sometimes, like because people forget and you get over it. Like I forget things. Some things I don't forget, but some things I do. So the dub is that I've just been making more friends and friends that actually like the same things that I like, because I think throughout life you make friends with people. And I mean, I have good friends that we have a lot of things in common, but none of them live by me. So it kind of sucks. So here I've been trying to find friends that like the same kind of nerdy stuff as me. And I've found a couple, and I try not to act excited about it because I don't want to get my feelings hurt. But it is very exciting to find friends that like the nerdy stuff like me. It makes me feel like there's nothing wrong with me after all. You know, like maybe it's okay that I like the stuff that I like, even though I know internally, like deep down, I'm actually very comfortable with it, even if no one else were to like it. But it's just nice to find people that like the same stuff as you. Makes you feel good. I just hope my heart doesn't get ripped out and shredded to bits. But so be it. I'll put it back together. And then my last dub is I've been playing Hogwarts Legacy, which I've talked about before on the podcast. I love this game. I've talked about it multiple times, and I don't care if I already talked about it. I really like this game. It's worth the buy. If you like open world games, it's a great game. Run around. You can make yourself look cute. There's different mods. You can enable different mods. Like, of course, I enabled mods where I have cuter outfits. And I have this outfit that has like a cute little bow tie scarf and like a little fluffy bottom dress, like kind of a shorter dress, big puffy sleeves. It's so cute. It is so cute. And then I got mods for different hairstyles, even though I actually really liked my original hairstyle in that game. It was like a short bob kind of thing, but it was like a short curly bob thing kind of. But I have officially completed all of the main quests of that game. I know you don't care, but just listen. Just listen to me. I completed all of the quests, the main quests, okay? This is a spoiler alert also. If you're going to play this game, this is a spoiler alert, so maybe just skip a little bit until I'm done talking about it. I'll make it really fast. So skip like 20 seconds, or no, actually skip longer. A lot of people die in the main quest. There's a lot of death in this game, and there's a lot of really sad ways that people die in this game. The story, honestly, is really good, I think, in the game. I don't know what the reviews are saying out there, but I like the storyline of the game. And I also like the characters in the game. I think everyone's very dynamic. Very sad characters, though. Like sad situations. Very sad situations. Anyways, that's all I'll say. But it was really fun. And I still have a shiz ton to do. Like, I'm the type of person that if there's a challenge or a quest or like a mini kit like in Lego Star Wars or like Lego games. Anyways, that might be too niche, but any extra power up, or what am I trying to say? Any collectible item or anything. If there's a whole world out there to explore in a game, I need to explore the whole world. I need to get all of the 10 out of 10 collections, the 10 out of 10 quests, the 10 out of 10 random things, treasure chests. I need to find all the treasure chests. And also, there's a room that you can design by yourself, and I want to design the whole room exactly how I want it to look. Therefore, I need to find all of the treasure chests that have all of those different modifier things that I can actually use to make it look nice. For what? Nothing. For nothing. Just for fun. Anyway, so I redid my space in the game, the room of requirement. If you know, you know. And it looks pretty good. I have a little alchemy space. I have where all of my pots are that are creating different plants. I have my potions, a brewing. I just got all the stuff now. So it's a pretty cool gig. So it's a pretty cool place. Maybe I'll show you guys around sometime. Okay, so now let's get back into the main part of today's episode. What is my podcast about sometimes? I don't know. As I said, we are talking about, I think, just maybe a sadness or an anger or whatever feeling comes up when you realize how much time was wasted or spent on obsessions with OCD, or just on time if you've dealt with depression, how much time you've spent kind of wallowing or not understanding what was going on. And so you just kind of let yourself lay in bed for a very long time and not be able to enjoy the things that now, if you feel better, or at times where you did feel better, what you learned that you really do enjoy. There's also, I think, a sadness that comes when you realize you don't really know yourself too well, because a lot of what you've known about yourself is OCD. So you know your OCD self very well. Like, you know those parts of you very well. But there are a lot of parts of you that are undiscovered. There's a part of me that feels kind of sad about that, like a deep, deep sadness. But there's also that same deep sadness on the other end is like a deep joy of discovery and a deep well of things that are yet to be discovered about life and about myself. That's very comforting to me. Have been on quite the journey, finding a relationship with God, with finding a relationship with myself, with OCD, what that looks like for me, how that shows up, what do I actually want to spend my time thinking about and doing and chasing and being. When I think back to my childhood, I have a lot of positive memories, but a lot of the memories also, but a lot of the things that I do remember have to do with my OCD obsessions. And I remember being a little girl. I can remember what I was looking at and how I was feeling and what I was thinking for a lot of memories in different locations. And then I think about the things that I've learned about let me rephrase. The reason I think this was brought up for me is because I've been trying to take my painting and my drawing, my sketching, all of it to the next level. And I want to go back, or not back, I just want to go to art school, like I was saying, and in any capacity. But to get to, I'm in a place where my growth is kind of stagnant until I get a teacher or someone to help me learn how to get to where I want to be. Like, there's just a gap between what I want to make and the ideas I have of art that I want to create, and then I can't draw it. Like, I cannot do it yet. And I believe that I can get there someday, even if it's incredibly frustrating and I want to quit all the time. But I know the thing that's telling me to quit is like just not a helpful part of myself, and it's also not even true, because like anyone can learn, and if they're taught and if they practice and practice and practice, they're going to get better. That's how we work. Anyways, and I have memories of being in art class as a little girl, and I always thought it was really fun. Like, I remember it being some of the only times where I could function, like where I could function normally and not be so obsessed about my OCD. Like, I specifically remember one project in art class. That and writing were my two favorite classes, like kind of subjects. But this was in elementary school, I remember. Like, in junior high and high school, I think I was way too anxious at that point to prioritize like my hobbies or to practice drawing or sketching or painting or anything like that. I always loved crafty stuff, but even then I feel like a lot of the time I was really focused on my obsessions and my OCD. So I didn't think that I had the time to practice. And I actually didn't really even know until, again, now I'm almost 30, that I really enjoy art and that I really enjoy writing and stuff like that. So anyways, I remember one project specifically was you had to build a castle. Like, you had to cut papers and you had to build almost like a 2D version of a castle. You had to build a moat around it, a dragon. And I remember feeling like this is so fun. I feel so free. I can just create this world. I don't have to worry about this stuff in this world. That was so freeing to me. But I never like did anything about that. I was just a little girl. I didn't know. I just was like, oh, I enjoy this. And I never thought about it since until now that I'm older and I realize, oh, like I love Dungeons and Dragons. I love fantasy. I love fantasy worlds. Like I've always loved Lord of the Rings, and I also love writing. I always loved to write, and I still like creating stories, and sometimes they're just all in my head. But I remember being like, "Oh, I can actually use my imagination for something good." Maybe all of my imaginative scenarios and all these really intrusive images that are really specific, maybe I can channel this energy, this creativity, this imagination into something fun and good. And that wasn't until this age that I realized that I can do that with my OCD imagination, I guess. And it's not my OCD that gives me that strength, but I think it's like the same depth that OCD can bring out in really horrible ways and really dark, twisted, intrusive thought ways. I think just, again, filling that same gap on the other end or that same hole is just as much creativity and imagination that can be used for writing or for creating, for drawing, for painting, for illustration, for storytelling. Like there is actually such a huge, endless, but endless not in a scary way, because sometimes endless for OCD sounds like is like horrifying, but an endless, but like endless light and inspiration for stories and creativity. So that's my thought process now. I'm really grateful to have gone through some OCD recovery, and I'm probably going to go back to therapy soon once I get my insurance figured out, because I think I've talked about it. I've been struggling, and I just need some extra support and accountability, I think, and someone who's going to validate having OCD and that it's real, because sometimes I can gaslight myself into thinking that I'm just being dramatic and it's not real. But so I think all of this being said, I realize there's probably so many of us that have a similar story or that have a similar experience of, now that you're older, you realize, okay, I actually do enjoy this. And I think I always have. I just never had the time or the energy or like the mental space to think about this or do this. And it doesn't have to be art or drawing or storytelling. It could be just maybe you like to know the whys of how things work and how. And so it's like an engineer sort of a brain, or you like medicine and anything medical. So you can really be able to, so you're able to dive more deeply into that without it spiraling into an OCD obsession or something like that. So I just mostly wanted to point out how painful I think that realization can be of the time and how angry you can feel at that. And I think it's a very cathartic thing to let yourself recognize and feel, because it's a real thing that you're experiencing. And that's a really real feeling of regret, maybe, or frustration or anger or lost time. And it's good to feel that, I think, every once in a while, to remember what really matters to you, and that don't just like waste your life away. It might feel normal and like everyone else is just like wasting their life away and just like on and scrolling or just watching TV all the time. And you don't really know how happy or how fulfilled they feel in their life. But also it doesn't matter what anyone else is doing. Like what makes you happy and what makes you feel like, oh, I'm really alive and like this is a beautiful life. Like what energy that used to go to OCD obsessions has opened up for you to be able to use on different things that you really love to do. And that is a very freeing, kind of scary, but also exciting experience. I don't know if this makes sense. Sometimes I talk and I think, what the frick are you saying? But it makes sense to me. But I don't know if it makes sense to anybody else. So I'm hoping it's making sense. But sometimes our brains can lie to us, and it might tell us that we have no creativity. We have no imagination. We have nothing more to live for. And that is such a big load of crap, because you have so much more to live for. It doesn't matter what age you are. There are so many beautiful, wonderful things to be had, things to accomplish, people to love, people to meet, things to create, businesses to start. It feels so good to open up your mind to positive endings and positive futures. Even if the past has felt sad and lonely and like all the endings are bad and that's all you can see forward. That doesn't have to be that doesn't have to translate to the future. And you can leave that in the past, like really leave that in the past. Open your mind to a positive, brighter future. Something that does feel discouraging, I think, and I am sure there are plenty of people that feel the exact same way, is when I'm starting to try to get past this gap in my knowledge and practice of art and drawing and painting. I see other people who are younger than me who are like eons ahead of me in terms of skill and understanding. I want to just quit every time I see that. I don't know what happens inside of me, but I'm like, I just want to quit. Like, what is the point? Like, I don't want to keep. It just feels bad. I don't know. It makes me feel bad about myself. Like, I'm just not meant to be then. Like, I should have already been good at this. I should have known that this is what I wanted to do. Ever since I was a little girl, I should have always known if this is really like sometimes my brain will make me feel bad about the fact that I didn't always know my whole life that this is what I wanted to do. But it's like I never had the mental capacity to even think about that. I was trying to save the world. I was trying to save all of my family's lives. I was trying to save my life from going straight to AT double hockey sticks all the time, constantly trying to save me from that and other people from that. I was trying to stop that from even being in place. I had no mental and emotional capacity to worry about, I don't know, the joys of life, worry about what I actually wanted to do every day in my life, how to enjoy the body and the mind and everything that I have. I didn't have the room for that. I was too busy trying to mentally ruminate and save the world and answer all the unanswerable questions. So give yourself a break if you can relate to that. Give yourself an insane amount of grace and give yourself actually just let that go. So I have to tell myself and remind myself that that's a silly thing to assume. You don't have to have known what you wanted to do your whole life. Some people at the age of 10, they say, I want to be this. And then they grow up and they do that. And that's just like they've always known. Hats off to them. If you're somebody that didn't know what you wanted to do until later in life, that doesn't mean that other people have like a monopoly on that career or that path or that hobby or whatever they're doing just because they did it before you. I don't think that's not how it works. So if your brain is lying to you and saying that you shouldn't pursue this because you're too old and you should have known if this is really meant for you, then you should have done it a long time ago. It's like, this is my first time trying to figure this out in this life, okay? Well, I think that's everything I wanted to say about that. Sometimes I record and I think of things after and I think, I should have said that. That's what I was trying to say. And I got crazy and I didn't say what I wanted to say. Okay, let's do a Dear Abby and then we will wrap up today's episode. Okay, I had a question. It's not necessarily a Dear Abby, but I wanted to answer it on the podcast because might as well. But I had a question about frizzy hair. Okay. I don't know why someone singled me out and asked me about frizzy hair. I don't know why they think I would know that. But yes, I have learned how to deal with frizzy hair. I know it might not seem like it because I have a lot of frizzy hair when I record the podcast, but that's after all day of work. And also I don't really take the time to defrizz my hair before I record, which might be rude of me. I just don't want to put a bunch of product in right before I record and then before I shower. But I thought maybe it'd be helpful for anyone that has a tendency to have frizzy hair, to just some helpful tips that I have for when your hair is frizzy or curly, but also just a lot of flyaways. First thing I will say is it's never going to be perfect. So before moving on, I'm not going to act like I have perfectly frizzy hair, unfrizzy hair, and I'm going to tell you exactly how you can never have frizzy hair. I always have frizz in my hair. It doesn't matter how perfectly I diffuse it, what products I use. Eventually, I have a little bit of frizz. If it's been 2 days, I'm going to get frizz. Sorry. I know how to fix it, but it's not going to just be not frizzy forever. It's going to get frizzy. So it's mostly, I think, to maintain a non-frizz vibe with the hair. And when it is frizzy, just how do I tame it? The first couple of things I think is you really got to learn your curl texture or just your hair texture, period. You got to learn if you have thin hair, thick hair, like the actual pieces of hair. Are they thin or thick? What curl pattern do you have? Or do you just have straight hair like 3B, 3C, or now I can't remember what they're called, but. And then there's actually websites that you can go to that you look for your curl pattern and you buy shampoo, conditioner, oil products specifically for that type of hair. And that makes a big difference because when I put straight hair oil or products in my hair, it might look good for a second. It might look good for a little bit, like 30 minutes. But then after, it makes my hair incredibly frizzy and hard for it to it doesn't keep moisture in. And when it doesn't keep moisture in, then that's when it's frizzy. So when your hair is able to hold, I mean, I'm not a hair expert. This is just what I've learned. When your hair is able to actually hold in the moisture and it locks in, then it's not as frizzy. It's just the second that it's like the moisture is kind of out, then the curls separate or just the hair starts to fly in all directions. So it's not going to be perfect. And then you have to get good product for your specific type of hair. Of course, there's products like Day, I think is what it's called, DAE. It's a very popular one where there's a flyaway stick on the go type of a little thing that you get, and it kind of looks like mascara, but it's 4 flyaways. That stuff is a lifesaver if you are on the go or if you put your hair up a lot. That's one of my favorite products, I think. I don't know if it's good for curly hair. I have no idea. I just know that it works when I need it most. So I'll use that to pin up my hair and to just brush everything back to make sure I don't have crazy flyaways. And for us curly girls, we have some little baby hairs at the front of our face that aren't curly. At least for me, they're just straight. So sometimes I like to use it to kind of style them a little bit, just so it's not just baby hair galore in the front of my face. Something that's important is to shampoo twice. I actually learned this recently. I think it was from my mother-in-law, but I don't remember who told me, but they were like, you should always shampoo twice because the first time it doesn't really clean. Especially if you have curly hair, it's really hard to lock in the moisture and to really get in there into the scalp too. So if you have a good shampoo, get a good shampoo, get a good conditioner, good quality. I don't know all of the different names of all the things that are not good for your hair that could be in shampoos, but just go to an organic shampoo conditioner that actually works. Unfortunately, I don't have specific brands for you off the top of my head, but I know there are some. Just Google it. There's Google. You can Google anything. Why am I even talking? But I always now, when it's shampoo days, which is a couple days a week, 3 days a week maybe, I will shampoo twice. So I shampoo once and I rinse it out, and then I shampoo twice all over again. And that's when it actually gets clean. And I don't do that every day. Definitely don't do that every day because it kind of strips everything a little bit. Not everything. If you get a good shampoo, it shouldn't strip all of your natural oils from your hair. But you do want some of them. You just want it cleaned. You want to actually clean your hair. So shampoo it twice and then go in with the conditioner. And then I actually put a little bit of conditioner on my roots, but for 1 second. So normally I start at the ends. So when I go in with my conditioner, I start at the ends and I work my way up to the roots, but I barely brush over the roots with my fingers with the conditioner on them. But I do want to condition the front of my hair and the sides and places that I touch a lot. And I condition my hair more than I shampoo. And then maybe twice a week I'll do leave-in conditioner after I shower. Again, make sure it's good quality leave-in conditioner and it's not too heavy or too light. Don't know how helpful this information is. Okay. Well, that's about it. Oh, just be gentle when you pull it back. Slick back hair I love the look. I love doing it. It's so nice to get the hair out of my face. Unfortunately, it does cause more breakage, I've noticed, with my hair, and then I have more flyaways. The solution to that would just be not put your hair up as tightly and as much as you can help it. Take your hair out, leave your hair curly. Your hair is beautiful when it's imperfect. It doesn't have to always be slicked back and no flyaways also. I always think I look slick when I have my hair back, but I'm also like, because it's kind of trendy or it's just like what we see a lot, and that's like admirable. But maybe one day you'll see that people have their natural hair out a lot more, and then you just get used to it, and then you think that's beautiful. So whatever floats your boat. Okay, I think that's going to be it for today's episode. I hope that's helpful for the frizzy hair. Actually, one more thing. If it's dry and it's starting to get frizzy, I normally just re-wet it completely and restyle it, or I spray it with a bottle and I added some like styling cream, like curly styling cream. I like curl the piece of hair with the styling cream on my finger so it like fully encompasses that piece of hair that's going crazy, really frizzy. Cool. Okay, now that's actually it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of the podcast. If you want to support the podcast, you can leave a rating and a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts. If you want to support me on YouTube, I'm there as well. You can leave a comment or you can subscribe and like. I would appreciate that. I post all of my podcasts on YouTube as well. If you want to go above and beyond, you can share this on your story or you can send it to somebody that you think might enjoy this episode or who might struggle with OCD or whatever you think would be, or whoever you think would enjoy this podcast. If you want to hear me talk about something specific, you can always send me a DM or you can text me or call me at the number in the description below. That's anonymous, so I have no idea who you are when you do that, by the way. So I don't care to look it up. I'm not going to look up who you are. I always need more Dear Abbies, so to keep them coming, you can leave a voicemail or text at the number below as well. And yeah, ask me anything you want about anything. It can be big sister vibes. I can be big sister vibes. Even though I'm a little sister, I can be a big sister. I always wanted a little sister. I was devastated when my little brother was born. I thought he was going to be a girl, and he wasn't. Okay, well, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day and have a good weekend. Take yourself out, have fun, be kind to yourself, and love you. Bye.
우회전 taking a ride to Jonah Lake 눈치 보면서 들어가야 할 때 찾아 나머진 바빠 개설레임 바꾸는 사람들